Hi, friends. This is Caitlin. Welcome back to Pink and Main's Facebook or YouTube channel. Wherever you are watching from, I am grateful that you found me. If you are jumping in, whenever you jump in, if you want to, hey, Jay, exactly. If you want to leave a comment so I know you're there, I appreciate it. And if you're new to watching or commenting, we love it when you tell us where you are watching from. Just super fun. There we go. I see Michelle checking in, Heather. Oh, it makes my heart happy. This one's going to be a really fun night, guys. So the other night on Tuesday, we did part one of my Sprinkles of Joy little mini series. So we had this little card with a little ice cream hot air balloon that was so cute, little Sunday air balloon. And we are doing part two tonight. So I'm using kind of the same color inspiration-ish, the same stamp set, but we're gonna create a very, very different card. So I am so excited. I see people checking in, Virginia, Susan. Oh, that's so good. Okay, let me switch you to our other view. Let me, just kidding. Let me pop down. There we go to my corner. Okay. Oh, you're not late, Virginia. You didn't miss anything yet. So this stamp set is the inspiration for both of these cards this week, right? This is the Sprinkles of Joy stamp set. So we used this image the other day on Tuesday, and now we're going to use this one, which you can see I have pre-stamped in my Asphalt Pink and Main ink and set aside to dry. It is a very juicy ink. I like to give it as much time as I can, at least 10 minutes. This has been sitting for about an hour just to be safe. And yeah, so that is our starting point. I wanted to stick with the same kind of pinky tones. So I grabbed the Inked Oasis pattern paper pack. And this, I don't know about you guys, I've tried alcohol ink. I love alcohol ink. It never turns out the way that I want it to. It never looks the way that I want, and it's never predictable. And sometimes I just want the look of that with it being something I can plan on. And this pattern paper is the best, right? Jay loves it. I love it. So I grabbed this pink and orange kind of fun, like violet, pink, and orange ombre. And I used this layered scalloped A2 rectangle die set that we used on Tuesday. I used just the largest stitched A2 rectangle to cut out my base layer. I wanted to try to use as many repeat items as possible from Tuesday so that you can see like how the same items can create such a different card. So isn't that just beautiful? It just screams summer to me. So, oh yeah, pinks and purples for Valentine's Day. And I love that there's so many like blue and green options. Lots of like colors that could skew very masculine if you needed them to. I love that, right? Like we could flip it. Look at the reverse. That's so pretty. All right, well, maybe we'll do the reverse another. Okay, so we have our Inked Oasis paper. We have our image. And then to try something different, I wanted to feature one of the new Simple Greetings dies. I'll show it to you on the back so you can see. You get these beautiful kind of calligraphy style attached sentiments, and you get the shadow layer. So what I wanted to do was kind of put my sentiment and my image together. And because the ice cream is kind of curved and she's kind of peeking out to the side, I want my sentiment to be this way, kind of tucking under her. And so that is my idea for these. But to make it stand out even more and to do something fun and like a little more even different with our sentiment, I want to glitter the sentiment. And I don't want to do loose glitter because we are on a time crunch. But you could always put glue and then, or like a double-sided adhesive and do, well, that's what we should do next time. Pink and Main has double-sided adhesive sheets, like sticker sheets. Maybe we'll do like a flocked or a loose glitter sentiment next time. But this time we're going to heat emboss. So I think the hello there is going to be the perfect size. Let me hold it up and kind of guesstimate. Hello there. It might be a little small. Maybe sending cheer. That looks too big. All right, last time. Let's check just a note. And if that's not in the middle, we'll just go back to perfect. Look at that. And we'll tuck it like that. Absolutely perfect. Okay, just a note it is. So I'm going to take my shadow layer and my letter layer. Let's set that over to the side. I'm going to cut my shadow layer out of the same white Copic paper that I'm going to cut my image out of. You know what, we'll just cut her while we're at it. And my just a note, I'm actually going to ink and then ink up some paper and then we'll emboss on top. So let's go ahead and ink. So I have the Dress Shop hot pink ink, and I think it's going to work really well with the Inked Oasis paper I have. And I'm going straight in. There's no, I want this deep, I want it punchy. I don't need to ink blend. I don't need to dirty a brush. I'm just taking the edge of my ink pad and running it all the way across. Then I'm just going to take my sentiment and make sure that I have enough space covered. Perfect. All right. Right, that's going to fit right in there. There we go. Yes, do adhesive sheets one night. Perfect, Susan. I will add that to the list. Absolutely. I love these sentiments. I love that you could literally just do the just a note right on that paper in a fun color and be done. You wouldn't even have to do an image because they're so like substantial. The size is great. All right, so let's trim it down a little bit. Just so I can try to get everything through in one pass. Let's get our tape. Susan, do you have any preference when we do the sheets on glitter versus flock, or would it be fun to do both? I know, I feel like flock isn't something that a lot of people have like gravitate towards. I haven't seen a ton of like videos with it, but it's so fun. The texture is just amazing. That's wet, so it's not going to stick. Let me hide for just 1 second. Run these through my die cut machine. I have my big shot over here on the floor next to my desk. Get my arm workout in for the day. All right. So my sentiment popped itself out because of course it did. And I'm dealing with some nail issues. So we're going to use my little dollar store pick here to slide under these to pick them up. Beautiful. And I am not getting rid of this piece yet because I think I'm going to need it when we're heat embossing to help me hold everything in place. I'm not positive, but I'm thinking it would be good to have it just in case. Just a note, she is die cut. And then What did I do with the shadow layer? Wow, that was impressive. That's like the best magic trick I've done in a while. Under the die cutting machine. Oh, guys. You gotta love the magic of live video. I have nothing to hide. Nothing can be hidden, at least. We'll put it that way. Okay, there's our shadow layer. So I want to go ahead and get this part ready before I jump to my Copic coloring. Let's straighten up a little and pull out. This is my secret weapon for doing heat embossing on smaller items or delicate items or anything that I'm worried about staying flat. This is just a silicone mat that I got off of Amazon. It's waffled on the other side or honeycombed on the other side, so it helps hold it up off of your desk, but you have a really nice flat surface to work on. And because it's silicone, the paper is not going to slide around. So I'm thinking if needed, I'm going to try to hold it with my pick, but if needed, we might be able to pop those into the die cut. We'll see. All right, I'm going to start with some printer paper. And I guess I don't need my embossing anti-static powder because we're going to just do the whole thing. I'm going in with embossing ink, and I'm going to just press down over my letters. If you try to like roll it a little more than just up and down, it seems to not stick as much. All right, we're gonna go in with our icicle embossing powder, just a beautiful rainbow iridescent white embossing powder with tons of glitter. I'm gonna try my hardest to touch the edges and not touch the letters. This is yet another one of those occasions where these little picks are so useful. There's something stuck on it. Tweezers. I have the pink and main reverse tweezers. Did I get it? I got it. What a victory. Touch the edge. And it lost some of its glitter. Okay. And the cool thing with these is if we need to, we can always do 2 layers and really like bubble it up. I'm going to be really careful with this because I stamped that embossing powder on my printer paper. The glitter stuck to the paper, some of it. So we're just going to be really careful moving that around. I have my heat gun. I'm going to mute you guys just for a minute because it gets pretty loud. I'll be right back. Okay, and that was so quick. They came out pretty much perfectly flat. And now, this whole time, and I haven't had my other light turned for you guys. I want to see if I can catch that glitter for you. There you go, a little bit. So they're shimmery, glittered little letters. I don't think we need a second layer. I think these are really going to pop. But I just love that. And by all means, if you are like, I don't want loose glitter, I don't want embossing glitter, Pingamain also has glitter cardstock that you could use and just cut this straight out of there. But I just love being able to do that. And if you're like, well, I think I'm open to embossing glitter powder, but I don't want 30 colors like Caitlin because I'm not crazy, you could do exactly what we did and ink or use a colored cardstock or ink your paper up with your ink, and then go in with the icicle embossing powder that I used, and now you have whatever color you want without having to buy all the things. Unless you're like me and it is icicle, Heather. Yep. Unless you're like me and you have full set syndrome and you're gonna probably buy all the things anyway. Yeah, so icicle, yeah, it's not doing it justice. It has like a beautiful rainbow reflect in it. Love it. All right, let's get this on to my shadow layer before I lose it, because let's be honest, at this rate tonight, that's a possibility. All right, so I'm going to try to hold this with my reverse tweezers, add tiny little dots of glue, kind of line it up, hold one side down, and then press down. Same thing with the ust. And so some of these in the set, some of these sentiments, the die sentiments are completely connected. And some of them, like this one, are like close, but you know, a little separated. Still so easy to use. And I love that the shadow layer is kind of generous. I feel like it's even easier to use that way. You just have that like little bit of extra wiggle room. If it's a tiny bit up or down, like nobody's really going to notice. Just, I don't always use my tweezers for this, but I think I'm going to be using them a lot more because this is way easier. I always end up with glue all over my fingers, and then I end up with glue all over my shadow layer because I'm just a messy human sometimes. Go. So our just right dot dot dot, not a lot exactly. And the tweezers make it even easier. So you can, there you go. Now you can see that beautiful shine. We have that really fun hot pink dress shop with the icicle glitter on top. And that is going to work so beautifully with our background and our little image. Thinking like that. And we'll pop her up a little bit. You know what I mean? I think you do. All right, let's get to some coloring. I had a good evening before this, so I was able to pre-pool my colors. Everything feels a lot smoother for me when I can pre-pool my colors for you guys. Get my Copic coaster in place. All right, and my image, I'm not going to worry about taping her into the paper. I think we'll be okay. You know, let's angle a little bit. There we go. And then you should be able to see it around my fingers a little better. So I wanted to take her a little bit deeper skin tone, medium-y skin tone. So we're going to go with some 25s, but we're going to start, or sorry, with the E20s. We're going to start with 25. We're going to work our way around her hairline on the outside of her sweet little face. And we want to make sure we're really shadowing the side that's coming from behind the little ice cream, around her nose, her neck, the bottom of her hands, and then I'm going to do right against her shoes at her like ankle. That was 25. Then I'm going to jump to 23. And just start kind of flicking and pulling that color out, making sure I get a good overlap. Her neck space is so thin, I'm just going to leave that one color. That's enough. And then 21 is going to be my lightest shade. And 23 to 21 is a pretty big jump. So I'm going to do tiny little circles overlapping onto the 23. That's just going to help everything to blend and melt together. I'm not pushing down with my marker really hard. I'm just kind of letting it glide across the paper and just kind of wiggle its way in. Okay, and then I grabbed R22, which is a little bit of a darker pink for me for blush, but I think it suits the deeper skin tone or more medium skin tone. And we'll go back in one more time with that 21 just to blend that out. So you get that really nice transition. Let's see. There she is. So skin tone done. Let's jump to her hair. We're going to go super dark brown again. This is kind of my go-to brunette color trio. So I'm going E49 first and letting the artist drawn lines kind of guide where I'm laying down that marker. And then I'm going to go also in between each of those artist drawn lines with a shorter motion. You know, we'll come up from that side too. I just don't want there to be any like big gaps. So then jumping to 59, which is just a little lighter, a little warmer. Kind of working on either side of those first marker lines. And then that marker really needs a good cleaning. And then E57. If you love to Copic color or you're interested in Copic coloring, marker maintenance is so important. And I don't practice what I preach with that one, and I really need to try to make time to do some good marker maintenance. I have some time in between these two jobs, or leaving my current job and starting the new one. And I think at least one of those days, I just want to be able to sit down and clean some markers. All right, let's go to her dress, I think. I grabbed some oranges and pinks that are going to work with our background paper. Let's see, we can kind of tuck that there as our color inspiration. Linda, me too. That's how Linda says that she could watch people color all day long. And that's how I got into card making, was watching people color on YouTube. So I hear you, Linda. We're going to go RV, nope, not up there, RV04 on the sleeves and the legs. My color chart made these look very different. All right, we're going to add in some VO4. That's the only other thing. Sometimes these colors fade a little or dry a little differently. And so my hex chart, sometimes I grab colors that don't exactly look the way I thought they would, but that's okay. We'll let that VO4 be our deepest. We're just kind of switching those. And then RV13 as our highlight. Yeah, that's still fun. Okay, then I'm going to go in with YR68 for her little dress, or like the smock aprony kind of layer. We're going to shade under her arm, around the ice cream cone. And then I want to kind of pull these scalloped lines up like they're ruffles instead of just scallops. So 68 up to 65. I love this kind of like sherbety orange color. I feel like I almost never use it, and it's so beautiful. And then YR01 is going to be my lightest shade. And that's just kind of a softer kind of peachy color. We'll go back in with the 65 to add the little frill and a shade in her shoes. So there she is with her outfit. So cute. Okay, and we'll move on to our ice cream. So my thought this tonight was to do the ice cream in a chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. We might have to switch up our, that would be better. So I was thinking if I do chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, I don't want chocolate here in the middle because it'll be up against her hair and I want to use the same colors. And I don't want strawberry here because it'll be up against her dress. So I'm going to do strawberry, vanilla, chocolate so that none of those color combinations are kind of like competing with each other. That way your eye tells you that they all look cohesive and they go, but it's not like, oh, she used the same exact combination. Look, they're like bleeding into each other. So for my ice cream cone, or my ice cream scoops, I want to create a heavier shadow on one side, and I like it to be the side that doesn't have the highlight, because the highlight to me means the light's coming from this side, so the opposite side should be in more shadow. And we are going to kind of emphasize the curves of the little scoop on the bottom, but just focusing on one side of each kind of U shape. Okay. That was our RV04 again. So then we're going to go to RV13 and some long pen strokes on this one. Really letting the marker sit on the paper for a minute. That'll help to disperse that color. Okay. And then I just pulled the RV11 for our highlight. Same as before, I want to go in not pushing hard, but just going in with these little circles will help to kind of diffuse those edges. Like that. I'm sure it's a little brighter than strawberry ice cream would be in real life, but I like it. So let's jump to vanilla. I'm going to do some E50s for the vanilla. So I grabbed 53, 51, and 50. We'll see if this has enough contrast. So the same thing, I'm going to add some shadow under the upper scoop, and then I want to really emphasize the shadow on the opposite side from our highlight and along that kind of ruffle scoop edge. And then picking one side of each of those little U's. Okay. Going in with 51 to blend that out. That's our vanilla. And then with 50 as our highlight of that. And I'm just going to leave the highlights white for right now. All right, and then chocolate, we're going to do the same as the hair tone. So we're going to start with 49. This one I'm going to use a little more sparingly than the other ones. And I'm really, because this is the scoop with the face, I really want to make sure that where the face expression is left very bright so that you can see that that is a face. That's like a big pet peeve of mine. If I have to, I'll even add in one more lighter shade because I really want that expression to be clear. Okay. Let's do some 57, but I'm gonna, I think that's okay. That is a dry marker. I don't know if you guys can hear that squeak. If you can, I'm sorry. Oh, I just love that so much. Let's go all the way across again so that as it dries, it's even. There you go. Now you can see, but you can still see that little expression. So there are our ice creams, strawberry, vanilla, chocolate. And so the last step is our cone. So we're going to go with some 30s, E35. Again, same idea as before. We're going to shade under those drips. I'm going to shade along both outer edges, but we're not going to touch the actual artist drawn line on either side. I want to leave that open so that we can go in with our lightest shade and it'll give that reflected light kind of curved 3D effect. So jumping to 34, little flicks towards the center to blend that out. You can also go in and add more dimension to kind of each waffle square / diamond, but I think this is small enough that I'm worried that too much detail would kind of take away, and I'd rather the ice creams and the little girl have more detail and be the focus that pulls the eye and let the cone just kind of exist. It's a supporting character. It doesn't need all of the attention. So there she is. The cutest ice cream girl ever. Can you imagine? Man, that's a good ice cream tone. Thank you, Miss Tamp. I thought so too. With the color placement, I just thought it would work out and kind of balance everything across. So now we have our sentiment and our image. Let's get our card base. We'll get everything together. And depending on, this is a lot of open space for me. So I also still have those theme enamel dots from the other day, the pretty posies, because it has that really good hot pink in it. But let's get this mostly together and see how it feels. So I am thinking main panel flat, sentiment flat, little girl popped up with foam. It's just like a nursery rhyme waiting to happen or something. And I love this die. because it gives you such a good, like, substantial white frame. I think it really balances how bright and intense the ink is. Oh, thank you, Heather. Oh, everybody, Heather, Virginia, Linda, Jay, I appreciate it. I try to limit myself on the number of markers I use in each combination, Heather, and so I feel like that helps it go a little bit faster for me. All right, so we're gonna do just a note a little bit up. And make sure that looks pretty straight. I push you hard. That's so pretty. All right, and then I have Sticky McFoam Face, our giant foam tape roll. I'm just gonna add a couple strips of foam tape to the back. Okay. Go. I'm gonna try to kind of hold either end to make sure that she's kind of centered up between the top and the bottom. She's not falling too far off the edges. Oh, I guess I can zoom you out a little bit now, huh? All right, that is really pretty, but I do kind of like the idea of some dots, even if it's just like a couple little ones. I'm worried that the pink is gonna blend in too well. Maybe orange, because we only have orange in the 2 places, and I like having orange in 3. So, well, I like having my accent color in 3 places. So I think we're gonna add a little extra pop of orange. So let's tuck one right there. We'll do a medium over there, and let's just do a little guy up in that opposite corner. I like that. It's not super in your face. I think the colors are bright enough and fun enough to kind of handle that part. So that is our sweet little card. Just a note, sending sprinkles of joy. So just so you can see them together, these are 2 cards inspired by the same card set, or sorry, stamp set. One is a little bit softer, one's a little bit punchier. I absolutely love them both. They both use some of the same dyes, the same image, the same kind of pink starting off color. So yeah, I hope that that was fun. I really enjoyed this. I, per the request earlier, will make a point that next week we will play with flock and glitter with some adhesive sheets. We'll get a little crazy. If anyone else has any ideas or suggestions or questions, definitely leave them in the comments of any of the videos. I go back and check all the time. So I'm open to suggestions. I want to be able to help and show you guys some fun things. So yeah, that will be one of the projects we work on next week. I will be back here Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Pink and Main's Facebook and YouTube channel. So make sure that you hit follow or subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next posting. And give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I hope that you have the most amazing weekend. If you're in the States, I hope you have a good Memorial Day weekend. I hope you can take a moment to remember what the holiday is really for. And besides that, I will see you guys back here on Tuesday after a long weekend. And thank you so much for coming to hang out. I'll see you guys soon. And until then, happy crafting.